All right, so it looks like everyone is in. Hello and welcome to another Twitter space organized by MarginX. I'm Jenny, who's the host of this podcast and also a crypto influencer myself on both English and Cantonese content. Today we have another episode on Twitter, and today's content is about crypto gender diversity and how we can bring more women into the space. We know for sure that there's a huge gender gap between the number of male in this space and also the number of women in this space. So I wonder what are the thoughts of some our guest speakers have regarding this topic. We have a list of some very amazing speakers who are doing great things for the crypto space. So why not we invite the first speaker to come and give us a brief introduction first. Perhaps we should start with Gabby. Gabby, maybe you could give us an introduction, what you do, how did you get into crypto, and how are you finding this space, etc.
Hi, everyone. Can you listen?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Alfaro. I go short for Gabby. I bet that's way easier to remember. Well, I'm actually an international lawyer based in Taipei City, Taiwan. And I've had pretty much a diverse experience in areas like international business, insurance, fintech, and I'm currently serving as PundiX Labs commercial law associate. As you know, PundiX is a fintech company and working with blockchain technology and to facilitate financial inclusion. And during my career here in Taiwan, since I worked in these sectors of insurance and international business, I was looking for a different path, something that I was more passionate about and that I could learn more. And I thought that crypto and fintech and all of this web3, universe per se, was the most interesting area I could get into now. And I started looking for interesting companies to work in, and then I found PundiX, and the rest, well, it's just history being written.
Well, great. It's great to have you, Gabby, as well. And I'm sure our listeners, thank you, be eager to learn your profession more on the crypto legal side of things. So moving on to our next guest speaker, we also have Luiza. So Luiza, if you could quickly give us a brief introduction about yourself, what you do, how did you get in crypto?
Hello, everyone. My name's Luiza. I'm currently on the business development and marketing team on MarginX, and I'm based in Brazil. I've been working in the company for a little over a year now, but my start in the crypto universe wasn't planned at all. I wouldn't say an accident, but let's just say like my life course just took me here. Back in 2015, I guess, I was freshly out of university in Brazil, and I'm a marketing and communications major. And back in the day, I was living in Brazil, which is the capital of Brazil, in a very political, administrative city. So a lot of opportunities for like public servants and a very traditional market, everything law related, but not many interesting things if you're a marketing major with specialization in developing brands. So back in 2015, I was looking for jobs opportunities, and I found out about a startup called Legal Labs, which then I found out it was a legal tech. And I got a job there working in marketing and strategy. And it was the first time that I even heard about anything tech related. And when I discovered it, and it was when I discovered a whole new universe, which include things like blockchain technology and web3. And I think after that, I kind of didn't stop researching about it. I would deep dive into Reddit podcasts and YouTube videos to learn more about this whole universe. And yeah, so then I started searching for more jobs opportunities remotely. And then I moved to Sao Paulo, and now it's been almost a year that I'm here in FinDX.
Well, thank you for your introduction, Luiza. I'm loving how forward thinking you are. And also, like, we all understood, like, once you dive into rabbit hole, there's no coming back in crypto.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
That's true. Well, moving on to our last guest in this Twitter space, we also have Stacy. So, Stacy, could you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Absolutely. So nice to meet you, Jemmy, Gabby, and Lisa. And I just love hearing your stories. I'm really looking forward to this Twitter space. I think I'm very similar to Lisa in the sense where I never, ever thought, like, you don't grow up thinking, oh, I'm going to be part of crypto when you're young. But what happened to me was I'm really good in English. I've had like this English language business for a while. And one of my students in 2017 founded a crypto company in Korea. And then he asked me to help with the editing and English communications for his company. So that's how I learned about smart contracts, was through editing my students' white paper. That was in 2017. And I didn't think anything of it. And then I got into crypto as a retail investor in 2018 around. And then when that market crashed, I was like, screw this. I didn't do anything. And then in 2021, when there was that whole meme and the safe moon and all these mooning memes coming up, that's when I joined again as a retail investor. And then from there, what had happened was the project that I had invested in, just as a simple retail investor, was rugged. And then now they're like my best friends. Me and the community members, we saved that project. And I was working on that project for 2 years. And so that's like my crypto experience. And then right now, I'm the founder of a web3 education startup, more about educating everyone with web3 tools. And at the same time, I'm a spokesperson for this awesome project called Messier, which I just see everyone in the Twitter space here. Thank you guys for joining and this Twitter space and supporting. And Messier is a decentralized black hole where we can do like it's a it's a platform where there's many apps, d-apps on the space with different features. So please check that out. And I'm really also sorry I'm rambling, Jemmy, but the other thing is that in Hong Kong, I'm head of education for an initiative called All Stars Women, which is it's an organization in which we really want to help women come into the Web3 space. And so as head of education, what I do is I organize different offline events where we can talk about crypto to non-crypto natives. So yes, thank you, Jemmy.
Well, thanks, Stacy. There was definitely a lot of interesting stories sharing on your end. So I'm sure this is going to be a very exciting Twitter space for sure. So let's dive into our first question. And the first one, I actually want to ask Gabby first, because it's very obvious that there are more men than women in this crypto space. So I wonder, like, why do you think that is? And especially in your crypto legal sector, do you have any take on that?
Right. Actually, like you said, this is really the most obvious question, right? Nevertheless, I find it very hard as there are just too many variables to consider, I believe. I think that we may need to define gender roles and their actions a little further or clearer. What I mean is, are we talking about where are there more men than women investing or adopting crypto, or who's more curious about the crypto industry, men or women, gender disparity in the industry overall and in leadership roles, and the different career opportunities we actually can have, like you said, actually in the legal area, right, of crypto. So it's very different. It's mostly male dominated, of course. And there's actually another, let's say, variable to consider, which would be impact of culture. So regarding crypto adoption, maybe factors like crypto volatility and maybe women being more cautious when it comes to investing, right, could be something in why maybe more men dive deeper or do the plunge faster into crypto. But curiosity is something that's very interesting because actually by reading, you get to figure out that actually there's many more women that are curious about the crypto world. There are some reports, I believe there's one from Gemini, that actually reveals that there's a 53% of crypto curious women. So that's actually more than men. So I think that is something very interesting to note. And as a personal story, actually, my mother-in-law, she's a woman in her 50s, early 50s. And last week, she was expressing interest in taking courses in crypto. And let me tell you that I haven't heard that from many of my early 30-year-old male friends back in Latin America. So that's something very interesting to share. And also, I think that regarding the industry, if we go back to the origin, it's we go to fintech, right? So the finance industry, technology industry, they have been male dominated, right? So I think that slowly but surely, more women are getting into it, and this brings me to the importance also of educational work, like what Stacy here is doing, right? Which makes more women interested in financial literacy. And this will open more doors for women to get into this kind of roles or into the crypto world. So I think that career-wise, there's a lot of, I think that support for women in marketing area, business development. Law is still a little male-centered, I would say, but it may be about interest. Are many women interested, or is it? We know that they're curious, but are they willing to make the plunge to? Because if you take into consideration the Web3 universe itself, it's technical, and we have to admit that we there's a lot of technical jargon that may pose as a big hurdle for not only women but people themselves to acknowledge that there's a lot to learn, a lot to read, and that you will be constantly learning every day about the news. And for example, in my area, it would be regulation changes, right? The regulatory changes are something that you have to be up to date every day. So I think that may be a hurdle for a lot of people. So yeah, those are basically the variables I think that we might need to take into consideration when talking about why are there less women in the crypto space still now. So it's something that's very hard to answer.
Well, I do think that is a very interesting perspective because I didn't know there are more female interested in crypto compared to male. This is also the reason why I love doing this type of Twitter space because we get to learn all this information from each other. So moving on to Luiza, I would like to ask you the same question. Well, obviously there are more male than female in this crypto space. Or why do you think that is? Or you don't think that is the case?
I agree with what Gabby said, but I also think it's a no-brainer to state that the crypto industry is a male-dominated field. I mean, we have there's the well-deserved reputation for having a bro culture, and I mean, I think it goes back to for example, the tech and finance industries. They're all male-dominated, and if you think about it, a few decades ago, or even and there are some countries that this still happens. Women were not allowed to have control over their finances without having male supervision or control. So, so it's fair to say that women have only been accepted or even allowed in many of those fields for quite a short time. So I think it's a no-brainer for me to say that it's male dominated, but I agree with Gabby in there's so much interest and curiosity coming from women to access these fields. But I think they're all so much more cautious when getting into crypto, for example, because it's historically finances, technology. They're male dominated fields, So yeah, I think the number that Gabby brought, the 53% of women that are want to get into crypto, I was not aware of that number, and it's very curious if you like to think about it. I think women need to be more empowered to take action, because I think the curiosity, the willing to get into this field, it's here. Like, women do feel like they could be part of it, but maybe we all need a little push.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, Luiza, because my perspective on my girlfriends in crypto is that our risk tolerance is so different. Like, even though female is very curious or wanting to know about crypto more, at the same time, we are a lot more cautious compared to guys, I would say. There's just like a general feeling I've been getting. So next, I would also like to ask the same question to Stacy. Like, do you think there are, obviously, I think we could agree that there are more male than female in the crypto space. But why do you think that is, and how can we change that?
Yeah, thank you. I love this discussion, and thank you all for sharing your thoughts, and especially what Gabby was sharing. Go your mother-in-law. She's awesome. Age doesn't stop her. Being a woman doesn't stop her learning in crypto. That's super inspiring for all of us. And what I did this week is, Jemmy, I shared your questions that you were thinking about discussing, and I brought this to our Messier lounge to talk about it, just to have an idea from our community members, but just more voice and more perspective of, hey, so what do you think causes the gender imbalance, and what can we do to engage women in crypto? And there are some perspectives that they shared that I hadn't even thought about. One perspective was, hey, actually, maybe there are more women in crypto than we think, just possibly that those people are choosing to to be anonymous, because some of us, when for myself, I use Stacy as my tag for Instagram and all of these different social medias, but some people do choose to be anonymous. And the question is, we actually don't know what is the gender of the people who are choosing to be anonymous. So I think that just, for me, when I heard that, it just helped me open up my perspective of, oh yeah, that's right. Maybe there are women in this space, but they're just choosing not to let people know their gender. And the other thing is that, within crypto, within Web3, it's an industry, right? So there are different verticals. For example, we can think about what is the gender imbalance in terms of retail investors. And I was searching earlier, and it was, Gabby was sharing that the percentage was 53% of women are interested. I'm sorry, 53% are more interested in investing in crypto. And then the other thing is there are investors, but then there could be people say in the ecosystem of founders. So I'm a founder of LearnFi, and I'm a bootstrapping founder. So what I do is I do a lot of networking here in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a very hot crypto Web3 space, and it's true. It's very dominated by men. And I think, and the statistic that we talk about in All Star Women is that 3% of VC funding goes to women founded projects founded by women. So it's about, I think, where the gender imbalance really lies is more in the ecosystem part versus the retail investors. The retail investors I'm curious about. And the ecosystem part it boils down to what we feel in LearnFi is about the education. And it's not even, I love what you guys were talking about, because we have lawyers on the call, we have different professions, and engineering and finance, and these in general are male dominated. I think it does go back down to the roots of women in tech in general. Do we have strong, inspiring role models to our younger generation? And to solve gender imbalance in Web3, but also in tech, and also in different industries, I think it all boils down to exposure. Because if a child doesn't know what she can reach to, then she won't bother to reach it. So that's why myself, I'm so passionate about focusing on the younger generation, so that they can understand or see the potential of, hey, it's not just the boys club in Web3, there are women in Web3 as well. And my last point is, I feel sometimes in Web3, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a reinforcing cycle, because one possible reason women are not interested in Web3 is because the narrative is written by men. So even if you're in marketing, you write the narrative towards the avatar of your targeted customer. But if it's like men trying to sell tampons, it's just so strange, because they never experienced how to use a tampon before. And so the same thing for women. If a lot of the Web3 narrative, if the Web3 jargon, or the manner in which people are attracted to Web3 are written by men, but it doesn't attract us at all, because that's not our voice. That's not who we respond to. So that's the cycle. And in order to break the cycle, I think it's really good for more women in this space to get into all areas of the ecosystem, so that we have more representation of voice. Yes. Thank you, Jemmy.
Thank you, Stacy. You definitely brought up a lot of interesting points that I've never thought that through. Like the fact that we know a lot of crypto people actually remain anonymous. That is actually a really good point, because we don't know about the gender. So how can we assume that they are all male, right? So that is definitely a very, very interesting point. Well, moving on to the next question, I would like to ask Gabby, like, can you share what sort of like personal challenge that you have faced as a woman in this space, because we are a minority in this group, right? So I wonder what the challenges that you have faced, and also how did she manage to overcome them?
This question's I think it's really important, right, for everyone, not just the women here in this space, but maybe it's something that we've all encountered in our different jobs, the different jobs we've had. But I could say that a personal challenge, and even though I am a lawyer, has been a communication challenge, right? And like, raise your hand if you had issues with this with other colleagues, right? So um, communication differences and remote working, they sometimes make it harder, right? But you have to work on it. I of course like to listen to advice, but in this case, one way I tried to overcome this specific challenge I had was reading. I think that reading from other people always helps you, gives you a new perspective. And I found this really, really, really great book on communication that actually gave me a clearer way on how to communicate with different types of people, because we have to remember we're not the same, right? So I would I would like to give the name of the book, but it may be a little a little weird. It's just the title is a punchline, but it's just funny, and because the title is just how usually most people feel at some point. But I want to clarify that it's not what I think, right? Or it's not what even the writer of this book thinks. It's just he chose this title because of a personal experience. And this is a book by Thomas Erickson that's called Surrounded by Idiots. And it's the 4 types of human behavior. I don't know if you guys have, any of you guys have read it, but it's really good. And it classifies people into 4 different colors, and depending on the type of personality you have, and you can be a mix of colors, and it gives you advice on how you should be able to communicate more effectively with this person. So take my word, it's a good read. It does help. It opens your mind to understanding that, hey, like, this person is really outgoing, so you should talk to this person like this. This person is analytical. Talk to this person with facts. Don't talk to this person with emotions. Things that we might have taken for granted before, but will definitely help you with your relationships. So I think that is my most significant challenge so far.
Well, I'm sure you got a lot of us very curious to read about this book, and I'm sure there are a lot of valuable insights inside this book as well. So moving on to Luiza, I'll also like to ask you the same question. What sort of challenges that you have faced as a woman in this crypto space, and how did she manage to overcome them?
I'll bring this conversation back to the gender issue again. Stating first, I've actually been very fortunate to work with many incredible women in my career, but since my first years working, and this goes beyond the crypto field, I have faced the challenge to have people taking me seriously. I faced situations where I would walk in a meeting room and not many participants would even bother to listen to what I was saying. A few years ago, when I was working in that legal tech here in Brazil, I was working there as a marketing analyst. And one time I walked into a meeting with my other female colleague, who, by the way, was the brand manager, and one of our interns, who was a much younger boy. I think he was 17 at the time, and I was 24, and my colleague was 30, around her 30s. And the other people in the meeting with us, they were all men. They would only look and make questions to our intern, who didn't know much about what we were discussing. I remember that my colleague, the brand manager, was just showing, we showed us a huge presentation. We stated a bunch of facts and everything, and then the other men in the meeting with us, they would ask our intern the questions. They would look at him. They wouldn't really take seriously what we were saying, and the intern didn't know anything about it. He was just an intern. I think he just put up the presentation.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
So that wasn't the first nor the last situation that I faced when it comes to this. And I think the best way I managed to overcome this issue is to make sure that I always speak up, even when people don't take me seriously. Try to communicate my thoughts, and always educate myself, and try to be more assured of what I'm saying. I think so.
I really understood how you feel, because me as a crypto influencer, I have to be in front of the camera every single day and pass on educational content to my audience. But at the same time, I'm facing all this challenge that people assume that I don't know anything about crypto or investing because I'm a girl. And even me, myself, being in front of the camera, people would just assume that I'm reading out a script being prepared by someone else and the information being fed in my mouth, instead of me actually doing the research and spending hours and hours learning about crypto. So I wonder, the next question I would like to ask Stacy, have you come across any challenges like this, being a woman in crypto, and how did you overcome them?
Thank you so much. And, everything that Lisa, you were saying, one of the reasons why we're so passionate at All Star Women is because we try to find within our community of women and men who support women in crypto. Like, there are so many women with talent, but they might not have an opportunity to express their voice. They might not have the network to be able to appear on a panel, for example. And I think that was my case as well as a women founder. Actually, I'm really blessed in the sense where I've always met people who were very nice, very respectful. And one of my breakthroughs happened when I did a pitch to, it's like a double-edged sword. First, I did a pitch for LearnFi as a female founder, and I have a background in academics. So I'm a academic coach for the past 13 years. Da, da, da. But after my 45-minute pitch on my Web3 startup, the VC founder who I was pitching to, he asked me for my number so that I could tutor his son math. And part of me, like, my heart was like a little broken because I said, dude, I'm here to raise money for my business. I'm trying to kick off. I'm not here to, help your son with math, even though I'm good at it. That was really, it was something that I could have let throw me off because I'm here to present myself as a founder, and all he sees me as is this loving female tutor for his son. But what I did is I just shook this off. He's now my friend, and I shook that off. And what he did is he introduced me to Akina Ho, who's like this founder of All Star Women. And what she did with me, and it's a time answering this question, is how I managed to overcome this way of maybe people are having these pre-assessments of me as a woman founder. Is I have Akina, who's my mentor. She's in this Web3 space. She's always hosting, facilitating discussions. She's a strategic consultant, and I meet with her on a frequent basis. I'm part of her core team, and she loves us in a way that she encourages us and she opens doors for us. So I think that the way to overcome this challenge is, the challenge of how do we deal with these prejudgments of what it looks like to be a woman in Web3? I think it's one of those things where as we grow, we have to learn more, like you guys are doing. You're like reading more, having more time to express yourself. And then I think hopefully the narrative is going to be something like, in 10 years time, when we think about law, we don't think about, oh, this is male dominated. Like, you don't think about gender anymore. It's in my heart. I really hope that Web3 or in tech, we don't need to have a discussion about gender in the next few years. I hope that answers your question a bit, Jimmy.
Yeah, you do. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'm really glad that you had your mentors to help out a little bit as well. Well, next, to shift gears a little bit, we have talked about there's like so much imbalance in the gender gaps in crypto, and also the challenges that we have faced in as a woman in crypto. And I also wonder, for Gabby, where do you think is an advantage to be a woman in crypto then?
I'd say that there are there are three areas that I found like there's a lot of strength for women to be in. Media and marketing, because like what Stacy was saying, I just laughed out loud. Thank God my mic was muted because I really laughed. Like what she said, it's like men trying to sell tampons, right? So marketing, since crypto is so male dominated, maybe you don't get like much neurodiversity per se, or like what you would expect. So the female perspective gives you a better understanding on how to actually target the female demographic, right? So if you have more females marketing in crypto, right? Then you know how to target women. You know how to catch women's interest. So that would bring the already curious 52% of women that we have to actually try to do the move forward and do crypto adoption, right? Or to even dive deeper and try to be a participant, an active participant in the crypto world. And the media, we are fresh voices, right? You usually hear men in a lot of crypto spaces, but see here, like, it's women talking about not only women issues, but Web3 in general. So we are fresh voices. We have things to say, things worthy to say and to share. So I think that's why we are relevant in media as well. And I also think networking, right? Because the fact that we may be more approachable, maybe the approachability also allows you to network easier, especially if you're outgoing. I think this may be an advantage. Yeah.
Great. I loved your answer. So Gabby mentioned about media and marketing and networking. So I also wonder, Luiza, where do you think is an advantage to be a woman in crypto?
I fully agree with everything Gabby said, and I'll also answer this in more of a viewpoint of the crypto niche as a whole. I truly believe that having the gender diversity is always an advantage due to the different ways people think and work and have opinions. Like, I've seen firsthand how having, a gender diverse team can help create a more positive work environment, and like, men and women have different viewpoints, have different ideas, different perspectives, different backgrounds, and different insights. And how amazing it is to create an industry, improve a product, a conversation is like with such diverse background. So I think it brings so much to the table to have a diverse team. Also, I truly believe that female engagement and female leadership in crypto could help improve the reputation that this industry has,
Yes, I'm with you. Like having a diverse leadership team is very important. Like regardless your gender or skin of color and etc. Like we just need that. Like everyone, because I believe everyone is unique and have something over to the table and make this space a better place to be in, basically. So the last question I would like to ask Stacy, like, where do you think is an advantage to be a woman in crypto?
Thank you, Jemmy, and thanks for this discussion, because I do feel that uh, in the corporate world, whether it is in consumer marketing or capital markets, there is a term that's growing around. It's called DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's all about this. It's all about sharing different perspectives. Like, yes, I'm a woman. Also, I'm an Asian woman. And also, I'm an Asian woman living in Asia. Like, I grew up in Canada. I have different intersections of my perspective that I do add to the table. So the general idea is diversity is always better, so that we have more perspectives, that we can see things from a different angle, and we don't have like a monoculture, which could be quite dangerous, in fact. And so I think that if you're a woman in crypto, or if you're a woman and you're interested in crypto and you're happening to listen to this Twitter space, like, now's the best time to get involved, because just like Gabby was saying, yourself was saying, Luiza was sharing, is like, we have these different perspectives to add to the table. And whether it's in marketing or whether it's in the UI UX design of a product, we need to have diversity in perspective. So I think that a lot of teams, they might not know that they lack it, but they do need female perspective. And my other add on to here is that I do feel like there's an advantage of being a female founder in crypto and a team leader. For example, my team leadership style is very different from my friends who are guys, because I do think that women as leaders, we really know how to foster talents, how we can nurture growth. And for example, when in LearnFi, at this highlight of our point around 18 months ago, we had 17 volunteers. And the craziest thing was that they were all men except for me. And people ask me like how I managed that. And I always say, I really just love on my team. And when we work together as a team, it's not just like all about KPIs. It's not about achieving goals. Blah, blah, blah. It's also about, hey, we're here as a team. We're growing together. I want to know you as a person. I want to get to know you. I want to know what's going on in your family. And so as a leader, I'm nurturing not just so that I can benefit and get the most productivity out of my team member, but more so from a long-term perspective that they can grow. They can grow in an area that they want to pursue, and also understanding what they need and nurturing that. And I think that women who lead like this, actually persons who lead like this, regardless of their gender, they'll have a team that's more cohesive, a team that's in it for the long run, and a team with far less conflicts.
Yeah, I love your answer, Stacy. And I believe like us women are like, generally speaking, we are more attention to details, and guys tend to only look at the bigger picture of things. And when you actually, run the project and do things, there are actually little small things you need to pay attention to. But guys tend to be like not as attentive, not as caring, I would say. And then the next question I would like to actually want to ask Stacy a little bit more, because it seems like girls are not too interested in diving into the world of crypto, because it might be just with my inner circle, because we know Gabby just mentioned that like 52% of women are interested in crypto, but so far I haven't really come across that in my inner circle, and I'm wondering like what is it like in your female friends or group?
Oh, okay. Thank you for that question. So, one of the communities that I'm involved with is All Star Women, and it's this vision of trying to onboard and engage more women in crypto, more women in Web3, and we have offline events in Hong Kong. Actually, it's a global, but I'm part of the Asia Pacific chapter, so I have more details about Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And our events that we host are like, it's so funny. If you guys, if you come to Hong Kong, like come over, because they're all women. They're all women events, and some men, but more women than men. I think that I would say from my observation, being part of All Star Women, whenever we do meet new people who they come to our event, or they'll join our group chat and they'll talk to us, they'll say things like, wow, I didn't know that I could have friends in this space. I didn't know I could connect with people. And I didn't know that I could ask questions, because sometimes, especially when we're in crypto, regardless of our gender, the questions might feel too easy to be asking, and then we look stupid. But I think when you foster a community that is really open to discussion, it's really good. The other thing, Jemmy, is like in Hong Kong, I'm part of this club called Club DAO. And out of the 15 members, there's like 7 women. It's kind of ridiculous. But it's also from their marketing perspective, a lot of their events are so male idea. And even they tried to form a committee of women, and they're trying to like, how do we engage women in crypto? And we'll say things to them like, look, women, especially if we have families, we don't want to network at 9 p.m. and we don't want to drink till 4 a.m. Like, we want to have events at maybe 2 to 4 p.m. Or we might want to have events where we can bring our kids to, like something like that, that actually can include women. There are some, it is stereotypical to say that a lot of the crypto offline events are full of men and full of drinking and partying. It's true. But I feel, and what I've been doing is, even though I'm a founder in the Web3 space, what I'm refusing to do is like, because some of my guy friends tell me that the way to get money or the way to know the VCs investors that you have to party with them, you need to take drugs with them, and you need to do all these crazy things. And I'm always saying no. And part of me wonders if that is also one reason why in the ecosystem, the women founders aren't as strong.
Well, I loved your answer because I feel the same. And then there's no doubt there's a lot of toxic bro culture in the world of crypto. Like if you go to like, let's say a Telegram group, there are a lot of like all these stickers, and I would say women will find it very overwhelming. And at the same time, all these stickers might not um, very respectful to women. Let's just put it that way. And then all these stuff might scared of girls to take crypto seriously, other than, oh, this is just like so volatile, or degens, or just trying to ape into a project, right? So moving on to the next question, I would like to ask Gabby, well, like I wonder what advice you could give to, let's say, a female friend of you and come to you. She's a little bit hesitant whether or not to get into crypto because they find it so volatile and complex. Like, what advice and like how do you talk your female friend into crypto?
Thank you, Jerry, for that question. It's actually really important. And I mean, I'm a go-getter. So I'm a person that's like, look for it, make it happen, right? If that's a career question, that's how I work. That's what I like to do. But I mean, if it's regarding crypto adoption, investment, etc., this is not financial advice, right? Disclaimer. But you need to understand how the tech works, right? And education is going to be key, as it is with everything. If you don't like to read, look for a podcast. I mean, go deep dive in YouTube. You'll fall into the rabbit hole to start learning, just like Luiza said she did, right? And like we all did. So I think if you're really interested, you will definitely have a fun time learning about all of this. So education is key. And therefore, I mean, you need to do your own research because you cannot guide yourself just by what you heard in a podcast or by what everyone is saying. Nowadays, maybe you don't know, right? If someone's being paid to do that, to say that, let's say, this is the best exchange, etc., right? So doing your own research is super important. You're scared of volatility. Why not start with stable coins, right? I mean, that will give you a little peace of mind. And you can also start small and diversify. Like, don't just put all your money into one. Just start. You don't want to do stable coins. You really want to do crypto. Want to try Ethereum, Bitcoin, let's say. You can put a little money into both of them and see how they move, how they fluctuate, what's their volatility. This will give you practical knowledge, right? And I mean, you can, by using, of course, a reputable exchange. And if you're really not in a rush to get that money out, if you just want to learn and see how everything moves, then just hold it. Put a little bit of money in what you want and hold it and see what happens, right? I mean, this is such an ever-changing industry. It's so new, and we're all learning. We're all experimenting, and I find that hands-on practice will be your best teacher, along with research. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. And for myself, DCA is really my go-to strategy in this bear market. Well, perhaps the audience or the listeners could tell us your strategy in the comment section below, and perhaps we could start another discussion next time. So, Luiza, I would like to ask you the same question. If one of your female friends comes to you and she's hesitant about getting to crypto, what can you say to her to give her a little bit of like peace of mind?
Just like Gabby said, go up because it's what worked for me. go after learning about crypto. Honestly, go search about the Web3, the whole blockchain technology, and it may seem like something way out of our league or usual market to dive into, but if you're curious about it, go like go learn. That's the first step. I firmly believe that education is a key element in the first steps of bridging this gender gap in the crypto space. As a whole, we have to prioritize education. I believe that knowledge about crypto it's is the key, to ending those barriers and empowering women financially. I remember one time, like I think it was about 6 months ago, a friend of mine, she did a lot of research, and she was, oh, but I'm a little skeptical about investing in. I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if it's she asked me, isn't this something for boys, for men? And we have a discussion where we realized that if a woman knows like 90% of something, she'll feel hesitant because she doesn't know those last 10%. When they know 10%, they'll do it. And then they'll figure out how to learn the rest of it, those 90%. So I think education is absolutely the first step. And yeah, just don't stop learning and be curious about it.
I agree with you. There are definitely more male degens compared to female degens, at least the one I've come across. So last but not least, I would like to ask Stacy the same question. If a girlfriend of yours comes to you, she's like so worried about crypto is so volatile, I'm about to lose all my money overnight. Like, what could she say to her or educate her to help her understand how it works in crypto?
Oh, great question. So first of all, I'd say to her, like, don't be a degen. Because I think people on the call can agree with me or not, but a lot of people who like just degen in, they might feel like, oh, this is gonna like 100x overnight. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. There's an advertising here, blah blah blah, and like no, those people more so than not are not making educated investment decisions. So wherever anyone's like just degenning in because it looks good, it feels good without any logical explanation for an investment, I would tell her not to follow that. If she is anxious about her current investments, I would actually tell her to follow her gut and withdraw her crypto. A lot of things about crypto is like, I would encourage her, like, it's good that she has an appetite or an interest in crypto. I would tell her, first of all, to set aside money that she's willing to lose as an education cost. So, for example, if she has $100, sorry, $10 is a little too little, but like if she has like $200 and $200 spare, and she spend $20 try to buy something on an exchange, make an account on a centralized exchange, or set up a wallet. These are things that she actually doesn't need money for. What are small things that she can do to just be involved? And then she can join some communities. At the end of the day, I think for everyone, it's really good to be educated and to focus on the technology and real life application. And whatever we feel like people should be degenning, I would say just don't do that, and focus on, is the product good? How is the team like? And to follow, I would say follow our gut. I would tell her to follow her gut. If she doesn't feel easy about a project, and like you guys were saying, sometimes women, they know 90%, they're not making the extra choice because they're not sure about the 10%. But also, I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that we take our time, that we're more cautious. And even if we lose opportunities, it's still okay, because the real lie and the real danger that degens have, people might get angry at me, but this is the truth. The truth is, fast money will leave you as quick as it comes. There's no such thing as fast money. Everything in life takes seed time and harvest, time to grow, time to invest. So if somebody has this attitude that they can invest something for $10 and, in the next 3 months, it's going to be $10 million. It doesn't work like that.
That's some really good advice. I'll also like to ask Stacy a little bit more. Like, if you have like a female figure in the crypto world that you really admire, someone who has made like a significant contribution, or you feel like she really deserves a mention, like who that person would be?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say it's Akina Ho. She is the co-founder of All Star Women Global. And then also she's so active here because she lives here in Hong Kong. And I'm highlighting her because she has so many years of experience under her belt, not only in Web3, but in property and in marketing and in consulting and in like I hope I don't get this wrong, but I remember that she was in telecoms and electronics, and just like in her life of her career, she has been exposed to different industries, and now she's in Web3, and she sees that there's such an imbalance in Web3 that she's so passionate to support women in Web3. And what she's done with me is before with LearnFi, I was like, yeah, I have an idea. Yeah, I don't like it's a good idea. I didn't really know how to execute it. But what she did is under All Star Women in March last year, she helped me open the doors with different organizations. And then we started our first parent and children workshop here in Hong Kong. And with that, we had 30 participants, and we were able to raise around 3,000 US dollars that helped a local charity support private tuition. I mean, free educational support for 25 underprivileged students that year. But I wasn't able to do this unless I had Akina holding my hand. And I hope that everyone has an Akina, like someone who is a woman. And when a man calls her out, she'll be like, bullshit. Like, she'll call it to their face because she's so audacious. And I learned so much from her. And she's always like, don't take shit from nobody. It's really funny. But I really think that everyone needs not only a cheerleader, but someone who is so fiercely passionate to make you successful. And that's all she does at All Star Women.
She does sound like a very amazing person to me, and I'm sure she made a lot of contribution to this space, and I really hope to get to meet her someday if I'm fortunate enough. Well, I think the important thing is to ensure that women continue to have an equal and increasing access to blockchain technologies and education. This is why we have this kind of education podcast to invite some of the great builders in this space and share the knowledge and spread the valuable experience for you guys. So, but unfortunately, that's all we got time for. I have certainly learned so much from all of our speakers, and I hope our listeners did learn something too. Make sure to follow our speakers on Twitter, and also make sure to follow MarginX. We'll be hosting here regularly, so stay tuned to know when our next Twitter days will be.
Sorry, Jemmy, are we going to say the secret word for messier?
Oh, yeah, of course. Completely forgot.
I'm so sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, so
can we do that now?
Giveaway.
Yeah. So I'm really sorry to interrupt you, Jemmy, but I just felt you were wrapping this up so well. We're having a giveaway for Messier, and the secret word is horizon. Horizon, Horizon.
All right, so great. So the secret word is horizon.
Thank you, Jemmy.
That's great. So who doesn't want some giveaways, right? So we'll also be hosting here regularly. So stay tuned to know when our next Twitter space will be. I hope to see you guys again, and good luck with the giveaways. And thank you everyone for attending this discussion. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.